Hello everyone. Welcome to Asset Infinity. Hope you are excited today as we are going to take you on an exciting tour of our application. Let us start our journey. First of all, let us take an overview of our application. Here, we can see that on the left-hand side, there are all the modules which we provide related to asset, inventory, maintenance, helpdesk, purchase, audit and physical verification and usage. On the top, you can see that we have buttons for scanning of barcodes, QR codes and RFID tags. We can also see a bell icon or notification icon. When we open that, we can see that there are certain actionable pending items which we can directly access from here. So, let us start deep diving into all the modules which we have to offer. First, we have the dashboard section. Here we can add various charts, graphs, and reports for quick perusal and analysis. We will start by looking at how to add an asset on our platform. For adding the asset, click on the Add Asset tab, therein you will see this form. You can see these text points, with the red asterisk. These are mandatory fields and these will be found throughout our application, and without filling them, for adding an asset, the asset data will not be saved into the asset list. After this, let us start by adding the asset information. First, we have to add an asset name. Then the asset code has to be entered. Now, you can enter this code manually, or you can scan the barcode through this option here. After scanning, the asset code will be added automatically. Then, you have to add the status of the asset, where you have to choose whether the asset is in stock or allotted to some person. Then, after choosing the status of the asset, you need to specify the category of the asset. Here is a list of the category which we have, and you can choose the suitable category from them, like furniture and fixtures, IT assets and other categories. This category drop-down and other drop-downs which we will find throughout the application are customizable, which means that you can add certain other options or categories as per your requirements. After that, you can add the asset image here, which you can upload by clicking on this button. You also need to specify the location where the asset is located. Either you can select your current location by clicking on this button, or you can add a suitable one from the list of locations specified here. After that, you can add some additional information as well, like the condition of the asset, whether it is good, new, or in any other physical state. You can also specify the brand of the asset. Similarly, you can fill in the relevant information mentioned in this section. An important feature which Asset Infinity has introduced is the signature, where the authorized person's signature is added to ensure the authenticity of the asset addition. Then you can add the purchase information, which includes the vendor name, the purchase order number. You can also add the financial information which is used for the calculation of the depreciation. After that, you need to enter the allotted to information, which specifies that to which department the asset has been allotted. We can see here that there is a transferred to column as well. In this, we need to add the name of the person to whom we have allotted the asset. If we choose the status as in stock, then this column will not be visible to us. We have also added the warranty information here, so in this we can specify the details related to the warranty of the asset, like the AMC vendor, the warranty vendor, amongst other information. Finally, to save all the information in the asset register, we have to click on Save. When we do that, the asset information will be added in the asset list. But before that, you must be wondering that through this, we will be able to add the information for just one asset. What about more than one asset? A company has a lot of assets, adding them one by one will be a very tedious task. You are right. Because of this problem, we provide the option of adding bulk assets on our platform in a very easy manner. Let us look at how to add more than one asset at a time. For that, we have to go into the Import Data section and open up the Assets section. Here we can see that we can add the data from multiple assets at once. We can also import an Excel file having the asset data. For that, we download the template from this option, and then fill that template with the information of the assets which we have. Using this upload button, that file will be then uploaded back into the application. After the upload, the data in this grid will fill up, and when we click on Save, then the data gets entered into the asset list. Now let us see the most anticipated section until now, which is... Any guesses? The asset list. For going there, we have to scroll up and we will see the asset list module. When we click on that, we see the fixed assets register or FAR. In this, first, let us look at the top options. We see list written here. This means that we are seeing the list of the assets currently. We can also see the real-time locations of the assets by clicking on this map button. Now, we will find certain options throughout our application which are very useful. First is the view option here. We see default view currently, but we can change that and add a suitable view for us by clicking on this plus button. Second is the API document tab. This is a very crucial aspect as this helps in easy integration with any of the existing softwares which have been installed. Thirdly, we see these colored boxes here. These are useful for adding the useful information on the dashboard or for creation of a report, for saving the data as PDF or Excel file, for refreshing the information grid, and the grid option for making useful inferences from the data we have. Fourthly, the Showing Records tab. In this, by clicking on this drop-down, the records per page can be increased. We also have the Set Filters and Clear Filters option. We can set filters by clicking on any of the column and choosing the desired data for that column. We can also set multiple filters. We can clear all the filters we had set by a click of the button by clicking on the Clear Filter button. In the asset list, a list of all fixed assets is given along with information pertaining to them such as asset code, status, category, etc. If we see here, above, we see the Generate Stickers option through which we can generate the customizable barcode or any other labels to be affixed on the asset. The Asset Transfer tab helps us to transfer the asset from one location to another or for allotting the asset to some person. The Discard Asset tab helps in the discarding of the asset when it reaches its end of life or for any other reason. The Update Asset tab helps in changing any details of the asset. The Schedule Activity button helps in scheduling any reoccurring activity for an asset. This is the asset list section for us. Now, let us look at the Inventory module. When we open the module, we see Manage Items, Reorder Levels, and Manage Inventory sections. Manage Items section is useful in adding the inventory item heads into the application. Let us open that and wait for a moment. We see here all the added items of the inventory. If we need to create a new inventory item, then we have to click on Create button, here. After clicking on that, we can add the image of the inventory item. Then we have to add the item name of the inventory which we have. Then, the other information applicable to the inventory has to be added like the category, price, units such as kg or boxes and other types of unit. The item code will be auto-generated. We can also attach the files related to the inventory, and if the receivable option is switched on, then, when this inventory item is received, then it will be added into the application. After clicking on Save option, the item gets created and gets displayed in the inventory items information. We can use these options on the left-hand side for editing any information related to an inventory, for viewing the inventory information, and for deleting any inventory item if it is required. We can set single or multiple filters in any of these columns as well. The Reorder Levels section is useful for setting up the reorder level of the inventory. When this reorder level is reached, then a notification is sent to the authorized user who can then raise a purchase request for the inventory. Let us go into it and look at how we can set these levels. When we click on the item reorder level, we see this screen. Here we have to select the location, the item for which we have to set the level. We then choose the quantity of that item, which will be the reorder level, and we click on Save. After this, the reorder level will be set and will be displayed in this information section under the quantity column. In bulk reorder level, we provide the facility to set reorder level for multiple items at once. Now, let us move on to the Manage Inventory section. When we click on it, we see the following screen. Here, we can see the relevant inventory records by choosing options related to the location, the category of the inventory. We can also choose whether the inventory is related to any asset and whether that inventory has been allotted to someone. When we click on Run Report, then we will be able to view the inventory items as per the specifications. We can see all the records by scrolling down a little. Here, we have the option to add an inventory, which will help us in adding more inventory quantity for the inventory items we had added through the Manage Items section. We can also move the inventory from one location to another or allot that from one person to another. We can also consume an inventory by clicking on the Draw Inventory section, and we can generate the QR code and print the labels for assigning them to the inventory items. This is the inventory module provided by our application. Now let us move on to preventive maintenance. We can schedule a maintenance activity with or without an asset. For scheduling, we go and click on the Create button. We see this screen here. Now, we can add the asset name for which we need to schedule an activity. We need to specify the location where the activity will be conducted. Then, we can choose the activity type. In this, we have to select that what kind of activity will take place, whether it will be inspection, maintenance, or any other activity. Then we have to choose the assignee who will perform this activity, the start date of the activity, the end date if it is required. The occurrence of the activity has to be chosen, whether it will be daily or weekly or monthly or any other custom schedule can also be specified. Then we have to select when the reminder for an activity should be sent to the specified assignee to complete the task. It can be 1 day before, 2 days before, or on the same day as well, or any other option. When we click on Save, then the activity gets added into the activity information grid and the assigned user is automatically informed regarding the activity. We can also save and print the new activity information for our reference by clicking on the Save and Print button. We can see information for all activities which have been scheduled in this grid. We can set information filters here. And on the left-hand side we have the option of deleting any activity, viewing any activity details, and editing any activity information. If the user to whom the activity has been assigned to wants to view and complete the activity, then he has to go into this bell notification icon and click on Pending Activity section. When we go there, we see the blue and red colored records. Blue one shows that the activity is not due yet, and the red one represents that the activity is overdue. We see that we can edit or print or delete any activity if we are authorized to do that. If we want to close any activity, we go into this edit option here. When we open it, this screen is visible. Here we see the activity information, and we can see the Mark as Done option. When this option is clicked as yes, then we see this OTP option, and this is sent to the person who has assigned this activity. After putting in the OTP, the activity can be closed. Another important option we provide is the Item Details section. This is helpful if the inventory management module has also been taken from Asset Infinity. Through this section, the user can add the inventory information which is present in stock with them and which can be used for completing the activity which we assigned. The inventory already present will be deducted from the application because it will be consumed for completing the activity. We also provide the checklist functionality, where we can specify an SOP for a specific activity which was scheduled. Here the assignee can specify which of the activities given in the checklist have been completed and can add any remarks if he wants to. When we click on Update or Update and Print, the activity is closed and is not visible in this grid. It gets reflected in the Completed Activities report, which you can use to analyze all the completed activities information, like how much time did it take for the completion or whether the checklist was followed or not, or any other useful information. This completes our Preventive Maintenance module. We now move ahead with the Helpdesk Management module. Please recall that we had seen the scheduling of activities and raising of tickets option in the asset list as well. We can do these from there as well. Now, from this module we select the Manage Tickets section. When we open it, the following screen is visible. From here, we can raise the ticket by clicking on this button. When we click on it, we see the following screen. Here, we have to mention the place where the asset is located. We can select the asset name for which the ticket has been raised. In ticket type, we have to select the issue for which the ticket is being raised, like for a laptop, its operating system might crash, and then we can choose OS crash as the ticket type. Ticket group is the group who is responsible for resolving the issue mentioned in the ticket, and this group has to be specified here. We have to choose the priority for the ticket, whether it is critical, high, medium, low, or any other priority which we had set. The reporting date and time is automatically updated. The reported by is the person who raises this ticket, and its details have to be mentioned in this specified column. The Notify Reported By toggle button is useful when we want to regularly notify the person who reported the issue regarding the ticket's progress. We can also send emails to other persons to notify them regarding the ticket. Then we click on Save to raise the ticket. After saving the information, it gets reflected in the ticket information grid, where we can set single or multiple filters. On the left-hand side of the record, we can see options related to viewing the ticket, printing the ticket, editing the ticket, and if we click on these three dots, we see three more options, which are Hold, Check-in, and File Upload. When we click on Viewing the ticket, we see the entire information associated with it, including the ticket history, where we can see how much progress has been made in the issue. We will come to the Edit option in the end. The Hold option is useful when, due to any unforeseen circumstance, the assignee is not able to resolve the ticket. During that time, the assignee can put the ticket on hold, and the time of hold is not included in the turnaround time or TAT calculation. Check-in is done by the assignee to signify that he is looking to resolve this ticket, and the TAT for the assignee starts from this point onwards. The assignee can also upload any files if those files are important for the issue at hand. Now, we click on the Edit option. When we click on it, we see the following screen where we can make the desired changes to the ticket. When we scroll down, we see the Is Closed toggle button. This is switched on when the assignee wants to close the ticket after its resolution. When we enable this toggle, we get an option to enter an OTP, which is sent to the person who raised the ticket. We enter the OTP, mention the reason why the issue occurred, and give any remarks we have regarding the ticket. We then have the Item Details section, where we enter information, if we have to use our inventory to resolve the ticket. Then we click on Update to update the progress of the ticket. Here, in this information grid, we can see the status of all raised tickets, which can be open, assigned, or closed. We can also see other information regarding the tickets, such as location, asset, type, etc. This completes our Helpdesk module. Now let us understand how can you make purchases from right within our application. For doing this, we open the Purchase module tab and go to Purchase and Requisitions. When we open the tab, then we see these options through which we can make the purchase requisition request, or the authorized person can directly raise a purchase order as well. When we go to the purchase requisition request, we see the following screen. Here, we have to enter the request type, which depicts what kind of request we are making, whether an asset request or request through indent amongst other choices. Then we can specify the estimated date till which we want the delivery of the purchases to be made. We can add certain files here. Then, we need to specify the location where we want the goods to be received. The requested by username comes automatically, and we can add certain description. We also have the option to save this request as a draft. When we click on Save, then the information gets added in the list of purchase requisitions. Here, we can see the important information for all the purchase requests made. The request number can be seen if we scroll to the right in the information grid, and this number is unique for every request and is auto-generated. On the left-hand side of the record, we have the option of copying the purchase request. This feature is useful when we have to raise a similar purchase request, so by using this feature we don't need to add the same information again and again. We can use the information already added by us in the previous purchase request. Then, we can also print this purchase request for our requirements. We can also delete the purchase request and also have the option of viewing it. We also get an option to edit this purchase request when we save it as a draft. So by clicking on the edit option, the desirable changes can be made and then request can be finalized. We can also raise a purchase order directly from our application. For raising it, we need to open the Purchase Order tab. Here, we can choose the respective requisition request number from this drop-down if the purchase request was previously made. We have to choose the vendor from whom we are making this purchase. The purchase order number is auto-generated. We also have to choose the payment term for the vendor, which is set by us. Then we can upload any related files and the purchase order date is auto-generated. We have to select the expected delivery date and the location of delivery as well. Then we have to click on the type column, where we get two options, and we have to choose that whether the purchase order is being raised for an item of inventory or for the procurement of the asset. After choosing it, we will see an additional column where we have to enter the name of the asset or inventory which we are procuring. Moving ahead, we have to specify the quantity which we want to procure of the asset or inventory. Then, we have to select the applicable unit for our product which we are procuring. We have to specify the rate for the item or asset we are procuring. We can also specify any discount which is applicable on the rate, and the final amount then gets automatically calculated. Now we specify the tax rate applicable on our procurement and it gets automatically added to the amount, and the total amount column value is shown. Then we see the receivable option. When it is clicked as yes, the procured item gets automatically updated into the application. If this button is disabled, then the information of the procured good needs to be added manually once the good is received. We see two options here. By clicking on the plus sign, another details form is generated wherein we can add details of more assets or items which we need to procure, and by clicking on the cross button, we can delete the additional form which we generated. After considering all the information related to the item or the asset which we added in the details section, the total and grand total amount is automatically calculated. We can also specify the amount in words as per our requirements and add additional terms and conditions if any, by clicking the toggle button as yes, and then typing in the description section. Then, any additional files related to the purchase order can be added by clicking on Attach Files button. We then add the signature of the authorized signatory to verify this purchase order. If we want to communicate to any other user regarding this purchase order, then we can do that through the Purchase CC option. We can also send the emails to the vendor which we chose while creating the purchase order and save the purchase order as a draft, if we want to. When we click on Save, the purchase order is generated and the vendor gets notified, and the information gets added in the list of purchase orders. We can see all the details related to the purchase orders here. On the left side of each record we can see certain options from where we can edit that record, or view the purchase order information, or print it, or an authorized user can also delete it. When we receive the procured goods, we can create a goods received note through the received goods section. We can view all the created goods received notes through the list of GRNs. Similarly, we can raise a service request from our application where we can raise service request, service order and service order receipt, but the difference between purchase and service is that, while in purchase the asset or inventory gets added into the application, in service there is a one-time consumption and nothing gets added in asset or inventory. This completes our purchase module. We now move forward with the audits and physical verification module, which we can see on our screen here. We can perform two types of audits right from the application itself. One is self-audit and the other one is the aided audit. During self-audit, the users who have the assets with themselves are notified to complete the audit related to those assets. In an aided audit, a user is entrusted to complete the audit which is being created. In case of an aided audit, the audit user column will be mentioned where we need to enter the name of the user conducting the audit. This is not there in case of the self-audit. For creating an audit, we go into Manage Audit section and click on Create. It opens up this screen where we need to specify the type of audit which we want to perform. Then an audit name has to be specified along with the start and end date of the audit. We can specify the fields for the assets for which the audit is being conducted. So, if we have a laptop for audit, we can specify the audit for its status, brand name, model number, or any other field which we want to conduct audit for. Then we can choose to conduct the audit as per the category of the asset or the location of the asset or the department to whom the assets are allocated. We can create the audits for multiple categories or locations or departments by clicking on the plus button. When we click on Save, the audit is created and is seen under the Pending Audits section for the users who are a part of it. In the Manage Audits information, the details related to the created audits are mentioned and the user can view, edit, or even delete the audits. When we click on the three dots, we see the option of extending the date of the audit. This is useful in case when the audit has not been completed within the time specified. We can also see here that the audit code gets auto-generated when a new audit has been created. Then we can go into Audit Reports to see the detailed audit information. When we click on the View button, the audit information is visible to us and detailed information is present for the assets which were a part of the audit. If during the audit any extra asset has been identified, then those details are also present in the Extra Assets section. For self-audits, we will see two additional options. One is to resend the audit request to all the users, and the second is to resend the request to specific users who have not completed the audit within the stipulated time period. We can go into the Pending Audits section to view and complete audits assigned to us. We can also reach this section by clicking on Pending Audits from the bell icon. When we reach here, we see the pending audits information, and on the left side of the audit record we can see the option of adding an extra asset through which we can enter the additional asset information which we found while conducting the audit. We can see information regarding any extra assets by clicking on the View Extra Assets button. For completing the audit, we go into the View option. We see the following screen. Here, for each record we have the option to mark the asset as present, not present, or present with incorrect data. Present with incorrect data option is useful when we have found the asset but certain details are different than the details mentioned within the application. In this case, the details can be corrected and the audit can be completed. We can also view the asset details by clicking on the Asset Details button. Here we see all the information related to the asset, including the person to whom it has been allotted to, the change log to display any changes made to the asset, the movement history of the asset, amongst other details. We can also mark multiple assets as present by selecting the checkboxes for the relevant records and clicking on the Present option shown in the blue button above. This is how we can complete the pending audits. We can also schedule and complete an inventory audit in a similar manner by going into the Stock Audit option and the Pending Stock Audit section. This completes our audit and physical verification module. The Usage or Utility module, as the name suggests, helps in measuring the usage and monitoring it so that it can remain within the desired levels. We can go into the usage monitoring section to create a usage monitoring schedule. In this, we have the option to link this usage monitoring schedule to an asset, or we can do it independently. We have to specify the location and the occurrence of this measurement. We also have the option of sending the reminders, and we can set it as per our requirements. We can upload any files as well. The assignee who will perform the usage monitoring has to be specified here. We have to mention the start date, but we can also mention the end date and provide a description. We can add the details of the users to whom we need to inform regarding this monitoring process. The meter option is a mandatory part of this module. Here we have to specify the meter from which the measurements have to be made. For example, if the electricity measurements have to be made at regular intervals, then the electricity meter will be selected from the drop-down. Similarly, other kinds of meters can be set as per our requirements. Feed value provides us an option to choose from ascending, descending, or fixed. This is as per the characteristics of the meter and our requirements. So, for an electricity meter, the value goes on increasing with the passage of time, so it shows an ascending feed value. Under fixed value we decide certain lower and upper bound value, and it is chosen when we want the fixed value to come within the interval. Then we need to specify the multiplication factor and the unit rate for the particular measurement. Then we select the usage monitoring recording time. And we can click on Allow Additional Unit when we want to allow the reading to go beyond the upper and lower limit for the readings set by us. We can also create a warning to notify certain users if the reading goes beyond a specified level. For that, we have to choose the warning name, and the meter for which the warning has to be set. The report based on option allows us to choose the warning according to a specified amount or based upon the units which we have set. We can choose it as per our requirements. Then, we have to specify the minimum and maximum levels, and any reading below minimum or above maximum will generate a warning. The warning notification will be sent through email to the warning user we specify here. When we click on Save, the utility is created and will be visible in the Pending Activities section. Let us open that through the bell icon. When we open it, we see in the Activity Type column, Utility is mentioned. This is the utility we created, and to complete this utility monitoring process, we click on the Edit option. There are fields related to the usage monitoring activity which we created. If we scroll down, we have the option to specify the reading which we found out during the performance of this activity. We can also see the budgeted levels set by us. Any additional reading which was beyond the levels can also be mentioned. When we click on Update, the usage monitoring activity gets completed and is visible in the utility report in the usage module. When we go there, we see the details regarding all the utilities. We see the total reading and extra unit after the completion of the activity, here. There is also a utility report value, which shows the details of only those utilities where the feed value was set at fixed. In the utility changelog report we specify all the changes made in a certain utility at regular intervals. This completes our usage section. This ends our last module of the application. Hope you liked the video and are now ready to use our fully customizable application for solving your unique business needs. We hope to work with you soon. Till then, goodbye.